All right, finding the next Brock Purdy, Puka Nacua. Massive caveat label on this. There is no next Brock Purdy, probably. There isn't. It's probably a bad idea to just be like, yeah, you see that incredible, crazy outlier where the last pick in the draft went to the Super Bowl. Probably want to be finding the next thing. However, it is fun and it is worthwhile because I think it's a good reminder that there are unexpected things that happen all the time, and also teams can miss. The Niners themselves didn't even want to draft Brock Purdy in the first 6 rounds. So, with that said, I want to go through, and Craig, you're the Purdy guy. Do you have you trying to weigh in here?
No, I was just saying that I like this exercise because it's low risk, high reward. If you're wrong, no big deal. We're picking day 3 guys here, and if you're right, you're a genius. We mentioned Puka Nacua last year on the pod. I can't remember if it was Ben or DK, but one of you liked Puka Nacua.
We might have to play that.
I think we both
liked
him, but
I disparaged you both, being can we relax here with this guy named Puka Nacua?
Yeah. Everybody, I wanted to go find my Puka Nacua receipts, but all Puka Nacua receipts still sounded bad. Because it was he set the rookie receiving record, and my receipt is me being he's kind of nifty. I think I could make a team. That's not a win. You just knew what his name was.
My favorite thing to do with all these, the Brock Purdy pick and the Puka Nacua pick, I love to go back, and you can say the same thing about even the Lamar Jackson pick. I love to go back and look at the players these teams drafted before they drafted Brock Purdy. For instance, the 49ers, the year they drafted Brock Purdy. Have you ever heard of a person named Kalia Davis? Have you ever heard of a person named Nick Zockolj or Samuel Womack? These are all players
Womack
they drafted.
Is still on their team.
Okay,
guard. I don't know the second name you said.
Samuel Womack is a defensive back out of Toledo.
Same difference.
It's Toledo.
And then if you look at the Rams last year, by the way, drafted tight end Davis Allen before they drafted Puka Nacua, a couple picks before. So it's it's hilarious to me to look at
theory.
Yeah,
it's Hayden Hurst theory. In order to make him good, you have to take before him, very close before him, somebody ludicrously bad. Hayden Hurst at 26, Lamar Jackson at 32. Lamar Jackson is not Lamar Jackson. He was taken at 26 before Hayden Hurst. You need to have that part of the story.
Anyways, I just find that part fun because it's, obviously Puka Nacua had some great attributes to him, but he was a 5th round pick for some reasons, and he just happened to land in a perfect spot for him. He did awesome. He's a great player, taking nothing away from him, but even the Rams didn't know that he was going to be Puka Nacua.
Hey, to be clear, we might have to play the clip because Craig went really in, and he was like, why do we call him Puka Nacua? He's not going to amount to anything.
This is why I went in, because DK likes every player in the draft. And he was like, Puka Nacua, also really good. And I was like, they can't all be really good. Some of these guys are not. Yeah. It's like the Jerry Seinfeld doctor joke. He's like, some of these doctors are graduating at the bottom of their class. They can't all be the best.
Craig, let's you and I do a little secret episode for the Patreon. All right, Venmo Craig Horvath, and it's just players I don't like.
Yes,
because I hate talking about the players I don't like on podcasts. It's sad, it's annoying, it's frustrating. I love to talk about them where no one can listen to them. All I do when it's just me sitting with DK at the Senior Bowl, all I do is be like, bad, stiff, slow, old, no. And then I get a buzz. You don't want to talk about those guys. So yeah, for the Patreons.
So I don't know.
So, we were on receiver 29th, and DK was like, I like this guy. And I was like, all right.
We got to do just the Ben Solak ick list. We were talking about icks earlier.
Sol icks?
Yeah, there we go.
All right, well, I think we figured out our Wednesday show.
Ben's got the ick for a lot of people. A lot of players.
Yes.
Okay, so without further ado, starting here at quarterback, DK.
Yo,
I have come from the future, and a rookie quarterback from this draft class has just won a Super Bowl in the next 3 years, and it's not someone who goes in the first or second round.
Yeah. My first reaction to that question was sort of a joke response, and that would be Joe Milton, quarterback out of Tennessee, winning a Super Bowl as a tight end because he's a very big, strong, fast athlete who he's a great athlete, and I would love to see him get an opportunity to do something in the NFL. I don't know for sure if he has the accuracy to be an actually good quarterback in the NFL, though. That's something.
Does he maybe complete one pass in that Super Bowl? That'd be kind of fun.
Maybe the backup.
Yeah, okay. I could see that.
Well, Antoine Randall L.
Yeah.
But to be a little bit more serious, if Spencer Rattler falls to day 3, I think there's a chance he could fall to day 3. The quarterback out of South Carolina. This is a former 5-star pick, 5-star prospect, I should say. Some really intriguing traits, great arm. His accuracy comes and goes, but I do think he shows a lot of really high end flashes. And so for the day 3 type of player, Spencer Rattler would be the guy I pick just because of those really high end flashes that he has on tape.
Yeah. The late player who probably plays the most like Purdy plays is Keaton Slovis, the ex-USC. When you say Nay, the next words are where he used to be from, right?
Yes,
right.
It's like via.
So it's BYU, Nay Pitt, Nay USC. All right, that's the order.
It's on his third
for
marriage,
yeah, for Keaton Slovis. Yeah, he's gone through it. But in terms of like, accurate arm, quick release, some movement skills, like that's probably Slovis. Slovis, I was talking with Derek Klassen, who does quarterback charting as well, at how like we were watching BYU, and you were kind of like, oh, like you're watching for Kingsley Sumatia, and like, oh, his quarterback's made a couple throws. Like, who is this guy? And then I discovered it was Keaton Slovis, and I was like, no. I was like, he's been in college for like 5 years, and USC was bad, and Pitt was bad. You don't want to fall into the trick. But if there's a guy who plays like Purdy does, it's probably him.
It's like, who's that girl? Who's that girl over there? She looks pretty. Oh, that's my cousin, for instance.
Do you?
I don't really love that metaphor.
It happens to me all the time.
Just constantly walking up to my cousins unknown from a far distance away and checking them out. 100%.
So many cousins in LA.
Relatable.
I would like to point out this was a completely hypothetical situation.
Oh, yeah.
When looking at late round quarterbacks, if you guys put your GM hats on, do you want somebody with attributes that are more high floor, a Bo Nix, Brock Purdy type? Or are you looking for, the penny stock that could shoot to the moon?
Yeah, that's an excellent question, Craig. And it's like a really important one because I always talk about how I like Bo Nix, right? Like when I talk about the tier 2 guys, Bo Nix is kind of my dude. But that's because I think he can be like Gardner Minshew, right? I think he can be Taylor Heineke, right? I think he can just be like a tough dude who will throw the ball on time, who will average 6 air yards a target, who will get the ball to my star receivers, check it down to my back when he needs to. He won't take a lot of sacks. He won't throw a lot of dumb picks. He will play within himself. So I'm drafting him to just like be a placeholder QB2, which again, like if I'm getting him on round 3, that's pretty good contract return over a few years, right? Minshew's making 25, right, over 2 years, right? I'm getting, a backup quarterback for 1/8 of the cost. That's still good return. But like, that's what I'm drafting Nix for. If I was drafting a guy after round 1 to become like a plus starter, Nix is way lower on that list. Now I'm looking at my Spencer Rattlers, now my Michael Penix, because they have a higher ceiling. And so when you go and talk about the late guys, right, like truly like day 5, day 6, day 7, if I'm picking at quarterback, because I think he has the potential to win my QB2 job, right? Maybe I'm trying to keep him around as QB3 and develop him and like, invest in the traits. But usually it's just like, can this guy stay on a roster for me? Will he be able to earn my backup job? That's more like, yeah, your Keaton Slovises of the world, your Devin Leary out of Kentucky. Like that's more them versus Joe Milton, who just like, there's a lot of worlds in which Milton's just not rosterable because he can't play.
I think it's a good point, Silla, because like you think that it would be the opposite where you take a toolsy guy like Joe Milton and you're like, well, just develop him and take the time to shape this raw person. But in reality, teams just don't have time for that. They're all busy. And for whatever reason, even though quarterback's the most important cog in this like $1 billion machine, they just are like, nah, we really only got time for one guy at a time.
It's like when it's like when you have your 3rd or 4th kid, it's like, look, we're not going to spend as much time. If he trips and falls a couple times, no big deal. He's fine.
And at other positions, you do go for some elite athletic traits because you can get those guys out on teams. And then big, fast, strong is sick, right? Like, all right, like get the guy who runs in a straight line can hit somebody, right?
But teams, you mean special teams?
Yeah, special teams. Excuse me. Quarterback, you're not throwing the guy out there on special teams, and so you have the emergency quarterback 3 upgrades. So like, it's good to keep a quarterback in your practice squad, absolutely. But they're just not going to develop. Versus like, all right, if that 6th-round receiver develops, great. But if he doesn't, at least he's running gunner for us, and like that's a position we need.
All right, the last guy I want to just throw out real quick, Michael Pratt. Out of Tulane, if there's going to be another like random Brock Purdy experienced starter, just want to throw his name out in case we clip it for next year. But kind of hoping Craig would cut me off. Save.
Yeah.
All right.
I love that idea. Heifetz, no problems here. That sounds like a great pick.
Joke's on you. That's what we're going to clip. Michael Pratt's going to suck.